Okay, so it's Sonnet 15.
Got it.
Okay. When I consider everything that grows holds in perfection but a little moment, that this huge stage presenteth nought but shows, whereon the stars in secret influence comment. When I perceive that men, as plants, increase, cheered and checked even by the self-same sky, vaunt in their youthful sap, at height decrease, and wear their brave state out of memory. Then the conceit of this inconstant stay sets you most rich in youth before my sight, where wasteful time debateth with decay to change your day of youth to sullied night. And all in war with time, for love of you, as he takes from you, I engraft you new.
Yeah. Wow, what a great poem.
Yeah.
When I consider everything that grows, holds in perfection but a little moment. So everything that grows has perfection just for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Lives perfection just for a moment. Is that what it means?
Yep.
This huge stage presented not, but shows whereon the stars in secret influence comment. But shows whereon the stars in secret influence comment. So what are the stars doing?
Well, it's interesting. When I just looked up stars and secret and influence in the Onions.
Yeah.
And even shows, because it's interesting, they in the Onions, one of the descriptions for shows was like fantasies and apparitions.
Yeah.
But I think the stars in secret influence is a reference to astrology and this idea that the stars have a mysterious influence over the acts of humankind. So.
What do you think?
Well, I know it's something that Kepler was discussing at the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, part of his the harmonies of the world is they're talking about the aspects of the heavenly bodies, that the planets and the alignments of specific planets having influence on the earth and on human beings and on animals. Yeah. It's the part of the book where a lot of people, when they got to that part, freaked out because they thought Kepler was just a weird, like, astrologer type.
Oh, boy.
But he actually started discussing the fact that there is a part of nature that has that there's a certain connection that gosh, I can't even describe it, but
Okay.
like for example, the way animals respond before earthquakes and things happen,
Yeah, sure.
that kind of stuff. I think, anyways, but
This huge stage presented not, but shows whereon the stars in secret influence comment. In secret influence, comma, comment, or in secret, comma, influence, comment.
I took it as secret influence, comma, comment. that their influence is secret. The influence of the stars is secret.
And the comment, is it the stars in secret that are commenting, or are they influencing comment from down below, from us?
I thought it was that the stars were commenting. Like judgment or observing. It was a couple of the things from Onions.
They're commenting on the shows. On
yeah.
these shows. When I perceive that men, as plants increase, cheered and checked even by the self-same sky, vaunt in their youthful sap and height decrease, and wear their brave state out of memorize. Then the conceit of this inconstant stay sets you, most rich in youth, before my sight, where wasteful time debateth with decay to change your day of youth to sullied time. All in time bloom. As it takes from you, I engraft in you. Who's in love with? Who's in war with time?
I think he is. I think the poet is in war with time.
Yeah.
Although he also has wasteful time debating with decay, but I think it's the poet that's in war with time.
Okay, so
I think.
Vaunt in their youthful sap, at height decrease. Is that a counterpoint? Vaunt in the youthful sap?
Yep.
Vaunt and youthful, height decrease.
Well, not exactly. Because the vaunt is it's like boasting.
Yeah.
It's like enjoying the youthful sap, but then once you reach the peak of your youthfulness, you're already on the decrease.
And then all they have is a memory of their brave state.
Yeah.
Then the conceit of this inconstant stay sets you. What's inconstant stay?
The fact that this perfection doesn't hold.
Does it be life itself?
Yeah.
Or living?
Like, I mean, as he says, anything that grows, yeah. So any living thing.
Sets you most rich in you before my sight, where wasteful time debated with decay to change your day of youth to sullied night. And all in war with time, for love of you, as he takes from you, I engraft in you. Yeah, I think you're right. I think he's the one all in war with time. Meaning he's at the point of heights, the decrease in heights.
Mm-hmm.
That state of his youthful sap being maybe.
Well, I think also whoever the you is that he's writing this sonnet to, that sets you most rich in youth before my sight. It's that he's in war with time over this individual's youth. That this youth that is still most rich in youth is on the pathway to sullied night. He's on the path to his point of decrease. But as time is taking away from that youth, the author is saying, "I'm engrafting you new," and I think that's through his works.
Yeah.
That even though time is taking away your youthfulness, we have a way we have a workaround, which is what we leave behind us.
Right.
Um,
Okay, try it again, Joe.
okay.
It was just a little mechanical.
Mm-hmm.
You can breathe some more flexibility into it.
Okay. When I consider everything that grows holds in perfection but a little moment, that this huge stage...
Hold on, Joe. Let's make that clear.
Yep.
When I consider everything that grows holds in perfection but a little moment. That's really the thought, isn't it?
Yeah.
That grows, lives in their perfection. It grows to perfection, and then it's only in that state of perfection for the smallest moment.
Yep.
Keep that clear.
Okay.
So I think higher inflections. Higher intervallic leaps. Start lower also.
Yeah. Okay. When I consider everything that grows holds in perfection but a little moment.
Good. Much better. But I think consider is thrown away. You're throwing it away.
When I consider...
No, actually, you gave it a downward inflection. When I consider...
Oh.
You used your accent.
Huh?
So Robert used your accent.
Oh. When I consider everything that grows holds in perfection but a little moment, that this huge stage presenteth nought but shows, whereon the stars in secret influence comment.
Okay, good. Now, holds in perfection but a little moment. Now drive it. That this huge stage presenteth not breath, but shows, so I get a sense that it's moving somewhere.
Yep.
It's all a very slow river going right now.
Okay.
Give me some throw some rapids in there. And some, okay.
Okay. When I consider everything that grows holds in perfection but a little moment, that this huge stage presenteth nought but shows, whereon the stars in secret influence comment. When I perceive that men, as plants, increase, cheered and checked even by the self-same sky, Vaunt in their youthful sap, at height decrease, and wear their brave state out of memory. Then the conceit...
I'm sorry, Joe, hold on.
Sure.
Now, when I perceive that men even as plants increase, is that what that means? Or
Yeah, I was thinking just like plants, like...
cheered and checked even by the self-same...
Yeah, that both grow under the same sky. under
Yes.
under the same set of stars, maybe under the same sky.
I think you need to if you can get that first line in the second quatrain clear. When I perceive that men, as plants, increase, cheered and checked even by the self-same sky, vaunt in their youthful sap, at height decrease, and where their brave states out of memory. I think because I think it was just I didn't really hear the thought. I couldn't follow the thought.
Okay. You want
He's
me?
talking about what he's considering. And then he says, he starts when I consider, then he says when I perceive.
Yep.
Okay.
Do you want me to go just from the top or from that second quatrain or
Second quatrain.
second? Okay. When I perceive that men, as plants, increase, cheered and checked even by the self-same sky.
Hold on, Joe, I'm sorry.
Yep.
I'm not getting the sense, when I perceive that men, what it sounds like is, men are like plants. But he's pointing out two different things, right?
Yeah.
Men as plants, men, but that's not the sense, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
When I perceive that men, as do plants, increase, right?
Yep.
Instead of men as plants, men that are plants, men that are just like plants, in the sense that these greenies would think we're no different than plants, we're no different than trees, we're just trees and plants are equal to us human beings.
Yeah, it's more so that he's using the plants as a metaphor. That.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. When I perceive that men, as plants, increase, cheered and checked even by the self-same sky, vaunt in their youthful sap, at height decrease, and wear their brave state out of memory.
Okay, good. So, vaunt in their youthful sap, boast in their youthful sap, laugh in their youthful sap, but at height decrease. So, that has to be clear too. Vaunt in their youthful sap, at height decrease. And then you sum it up, right?
Yeah.
And wear their brave state out of memory. The first line was much better. Try it again from the second quatrain.
Okay. When I perceive that men, as plants, increase, cheered and checked even by the self... Yep.
Sorry, Joe. I'm sorry. So, think of when I perceive that men, as do plants, I mean, it's, I think you have to keep that in mind. When I perceive that men, as plants, increase, cheered and checked even by the self-same sky. So, do something with your voice that gives, as plants, a little something different I don't really know how to describe it except that make it a legato, make it more legato instead of staccato.
Okay.
So that there's more of a contrast between men, what's leading up to men, and then what you do with as plants. When I perceive that men, as do plants, increase. Do you hear that difference?
Yes.
I'm adding the two. When I perceive that men, as plants, increase. So I'm just trying to find something that will make it very, very clear. I think if you do something with the melody or whatever you want to call it, but I think you understand what I mean.
I think I do. Okay. When I perceive that men, as plants, increase, cheered and checked even by the self-same sky, vaunt in their youthful sap, at height decrease, and wear their brave state out of memory. Then the conceit of this inconstant stay sets you most rich in youth before my sight, where wasteful time debateth with decay, to change your... Sorry.
Joe, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Let's take this quatrain. The second one, pretty good. Pretty good. Now, maybe because it's a difficult thought, then the conceit of this inconstant stay, another way of inconstant stay, another way of describing life. Then maybe a breath there. Then the conceit of this inconstant stay sets you most rich in you before my sight. Do you understand what I'm trying to get at?
I think so.
I just want to make this first line clear of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Try it. Take it again from the second quatrain.
Okay.
Because the then is setting up a new a new direction, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's setting up something that's in contrast or different from what you've been talking about before, or something that's going to go to another
Shifting.
Another thought.
Mm-hmm.
Then, when I see this and when I perceive this, and I consider it and I perceive it, then something happens to me.
Okay. When I perceive that men, as plants, increase, cheered and checked even by the self-same sky, vaunt in their youthful sap, at height decrease, and wear their brave state out of memory, then the conceit of this inconstant stay sets you most rich in youth before my sight, where wasteful time debateth with decay, to change your day of youth to sullied night, and all in war with time for love of you, as he takes from you, I engraft you new.
As he takes from you,
He
I
takes from you.
engraft.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, to get the proper
As he
counterpoint there.
takes from you. Yeah.
If you're gonna emphasize the pronouns, as, or you could go, as he takes from you, I engraft you. As he takes from you, I engraft you new. It's an odd.
Well, I heard someone do it once, and they said, as he takes from you, I engraft you new. And I was like, oh, I don't want to do that. But I think the takes makes more sense than from. I was kind of emphasizing the from, but
yeah, as he takes from you, I engraft you.
As he takes from you,
I
engraft you.
Yeah. Take, engraft. There's the counterpoint.
Yep.
Takes from, engraft.
As he takes from you, I engraft you.
Okay, so Joe, take it again from the second quatrain. Really think about the profundity of these thoughts. And try to get a deeper. Try to make it. Try to feel it deeper. You, Joe, feel the depth of it deeper, and try to convey how the profundity of this sonnet has affected you, has enlightened you.
When I perceive that men, as plants, increase, cheered and checked even by the self-same sky, vaunt in their youthful sap, at height decrease, and wear their brave state out of memory, then the conceit of this inconstant stay sets you, most rich in youth, before my sight, where wasteful time debateth with decay, to change your day of youth to sullied night, and all in war with time, for love of you, as he takes from you, I engraft you new.
Okay, so
Last line's weird.
The couplet is still not very satisfying.
No, it's not.
Hey, Robert.
Yeah.
I think what it is, as I was listening to this last time, when she in the third quatrain, when she comes to this, sets you most rich before my sight. It's like that.
Yeah.
That is like the ultimate indignity, right? It's the first one, the second one, and then the third one. Like, it's where time is taking away from you that I love the most. So it's like the third part is like, and then I realize that time's doing this to you. So it's like the third one is sort of the topper to the first two. It's not different. It's not a break, but it's almost like a realization, and then it's a building upon the other two. So then when the couplet comes, that is the break. When you realize, oh, time's going to do this, well, I'm going to, whether it be through these poems, that I'm going to make you live forever, or I'm going to do something that, to give you something that time can't take away from you. I'm going to engraft you new, right? So that there's a kind of a change that happens in the couplet, and I think if you try to bring that change with this first reference of you, then it's sort of like it bleeds the quatrain into the couplet, and the real shift happens there in the couplet. There's a shift.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So, Joe, I would say that you on sets you needs a higher inflection.
Mm-hmm.
Higher again, same place.
Okay. When I perceive that men, as plants, increase, cheered and checked, even by the self-same sky, vaunt in
Hold on, Joe.
Yeah.
So, it's still that first line, when I perceive that men as plants increase. As plants, I think if you keep it in your mind, when I perceive that men as do plants, it just needs something, because right now it sounds too strident. As plants, when I perceive that men as plants increase. And that's why the only thing I can describe it is legato.
Mm-hmm.
When I perceive that men, it's staccato, right? Almost. Not really, but I'm just trying to give you a comparison here.
Yep.
When I perceive that men as plants increase, just so that first thought is clear, without you trying to try too hard to make it clear.
Okay.
As plants do increase. Okay.
When I perceive that men, as plants, sorry.
Take a real breath. Take a real breath into plants. As after men.
Men. Okay.
Hey, Robert.
Hold on,
Okay.
Brian. Let me just finish this one thought, okay?
Okay.
Because in music, you have this thing called variation, and it's not just variation in melody, it's variation also in rhythm, so that you can have ba-bum, 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 ba-bum. The variation would be da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Right? So ba-bum, 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 da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And that's what I want. I want that variation. I want to hear that variation. I'm sorry, Brian, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, what if she thought of that as plants as more of almost like an aside, and that you say it like an aside, so it gives a kind of a break between the two, so they don't seem connected.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion. That's good.
Yeah, I mean you don't want to you don't want to throw it away, but at the same time you don't want to make it seem as if it's connected to what came before it, or else it sounds weird.
It's funny. I
that's
hear
good.
the difference, but I just can't. I can't make
Okay,
it
try
happen
it, Joe.
yet.
Actually, just start off with a short vision and then shift into a long vision, right? As
As
plants.
plants. Okay. When I perceive that men, as plants, increase, cheered and checked, even by the self-same sky, vaunt in their youthful sap, at height decrease, and wear their brave state out of memory. Then the conceit of this inconstant stay.
But wait a minute, the then has to have more portent.
Yeah. Okay.
Try it again, Joe. Yeah, don't think too much about it now. We've given you plenty of things to think about. Now just...
Forget about them? Okay.
Put them all together. Because you know this. It's on it.
Okay.
Don't think too much about it.
Okay. When I perceive that men, as plants, increase, cheered and checked even by their self-same sky, vaunt in their youthful sap, at height decrease, and wear their brave state out of memory, then the conceit of this inconstant...
Hold on. I'm sorry. You're trying to get these things by stress instead of inflection. So, just relax. Vaunt in their youthful sap, at height decrease. I think youthful sap. Vaunt in their youth, boast when they're young, at height decrease. Or at height decrease.
Yeah.
At their height. Maybe at height, at and height, equal emphasis.
Equal emphasis,
But bend the lines a little bit more, so don't be afraid to do something that you think might not be lawful. It's lawful if it's getting the thought across.
Okay. When I perceive that men, as plants, increase, cheered...
There, you're rushing.
Still.
You're rushing. You're not giving yourself enough time to go into long vision.
Yep. When I perceive that men, as plants, increase, cheered and checked even by the self-same sky, vaunt in their youthful sap, at height decrease, and wear their brave state out of memory, then the conceit of this inconstant stay...
It was so much better, but then you stretched then like you were going to beat the shit out of
I
something.
stressed it? Oh, I tried not to.
Well, first of all, you rushed it, but then, no need to rush it so quickly, right? Take a breath, or just relax. Then, like nice and easy. Then, so that we know that something is happening to you. You've given us what you've considered, what you perceive, and now something else is going to happen. Okay. Ironic as plants. Ironic. Long vision. It's okay to be humorous. You know, to have a humorous yet profound understanding of this sonnet.
Yeah, I guess his reference to engraft, engraft at the end is referring to plants again.
Yes.
It's a plant term.
That's right. And at height was that section was so much clearer now. In their youthful sense, at height. Yeah, that was very good. Okay, try it again.
When I perceive that men, as plants...
Do it, but it's better without the breath.
Without the breath? I perceive that men... Okay. When I perceive that men, as plants, increase, cheered and checked even by the self-same sky, vaunt in their youthful sap, at height decrease, and wear their brave state out of memory, then the conceit of this inconstant stay sets you, most rich in youth, before my sight.
Hold on, that was much better. The then has to be either higher than the note you left on, or lower. It was on the
It's in the same pitch. Okay.
Don't stress anything. Don't stress anything. A good exercise is to sing a song that you know, and not and sing it softly to yourself, hitting all the notes in it, but not get louder and not get stay. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming? I'm not getting faster or softer, but I'm hitting all the notes, right?
Yeah.
That's a good exercise, and that'll help you doing this without stressing and getting louder to make a point instead of,
inflecting.
Yeah. Try it again, Joe. You're getting a good workout today.
I am. When I perceive that men, as plants, increase, cheered and checked even by the self-same sky, vaunt in their youthful sap, at height decrease, and wear their brave state out of memory, then the conceit of this inconstant stay sets you, most rich in youth, before my sight, where wasteful time debateth with decay, to change your day of youth to sullied night, and all in war with time for love of you, as he takes from you, I engraft you new. I hate that couplet. Damn it.
Well, engraft, I think, is the high.
Engraft.
As he takes from you,
As he takes
I
from you,
engraft you new.
I engraft.
As
I
he
engraft.
takes from you, I engraft you new.
As he
I
takes from
engraft
you,
you new.
I engraft. Engraft.
I mean, you really have to. You really have
Engraft.
to think about this idea of
Engraft.
variation in tempo. Because in rhythm, I mean, because it has a lot of unusual rhythmic things. I mean, another thing would be just to scan it over and over again. So, as if every line was a perfect line. But I perceive that men as plants increase, cheered and checked even by the self-same sky, vaunt in their youthful sap and height decrease, and wear their brave state out of memory. Then the conceit of this inconstant stay sets you most rich in youth before my sight, where wasteful time debateth with decay, to change a day of youth to sullied night, and all in war with time for love of you, as he takes from you, I engraft you new. As he takes from you, I engraft you new. So, as he takes from you, I engraft you new. I mean, that's another way to think. But surely, you have to keep in mind the counterpoint of he, I, takes, engraft.
Yep.
Takes from, he, I, takes from, engraft. Okay? And then you have that new at the end. As he takes from you, I engraft you new. It's on the stress. As he takes from you, I engraft you. I engraft you new. I engraft you new. Just a slight, maybe just a slight inflection you, higher than I engraft you in you. Without stress or without stressing it, right? But you're still having the tendency to stress.
Yeah.
The whole thing. Try the whole thing, and just very easy, very easy. The person that you're talking to is right next to you. You don't have to. You don't have to get louder.
Okay.
Okay.
When I consider everything that grows holds in perfection but a little moment, that this huge stage presenteth nought but shows whereon the stars in secret influence comment. When I perceive that men, as plants, increase, cheered and checked, even by the self-same sky, Vaunt in their youthful sap, at height decrease, and wear their brave state out of memory.
Joe.
Yep.
Hold on. Go back. You're not shouting, but you're getting louder.
Yeah, I can feel it.
Okay.
Yep.
Try it one more.
Okay.
What if you were saying it to yourself?
Take your time. Don't rush.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of that's causing you to do that. You're rushing.
When I consider everything that grows holds in perfection.
Even there is rushing.
Okay.
Make sure you're standing straight up. Good posture. Stretch your spine. Okay.
When I consider everything that grows holds in perfection but a little moment, that this huge stage presenteth nought but shows whereon the stars in secret influence comment. When I perceive that men, as plants, increase, cheered and checked even by the self-same sky, Vaunt in their youthful sap, at height decrease, and wear their brave state out of memory. Then the conceit of this inconstant stay sets you, most rich in youth, before my sight.
Joe, go back.
Yep.
You're getting there. You're getting there. But remember, when we take a breath, we start to speak after we've taken the breath, and then you can do on that same breath let's call it, well, let me just give you an example.
Okay.
So that the resolution, so that the thought can continue even on the exhale. When I consider everything that grows holds in perfection but a little moment. I didn't take a breath after grows. I just changed it into a resolution. So I set up the resolution. When I consider everything that grows holds in, it's not really a breath. It's just a change. It's like you lead up to this. The water leads up to this. Let's say a dam, and then instead of instead of holding there, a trap door opens and the water flows through.
Mm-hmm.
When I consider everything that grows holds in perfection but a little moment, that this huge stage presenteth not but shows, for on the stars in secret influence comment, secret influence breath, comment. So that's what I mean. Don't get rigid in your thinking about rhythm and your breath. Keep it flexible, and try different things.
Mm.
Okay? Anything that's logical that helps you convey the thought is lawful. Okay.
When I consider everything that grows holds in perfection but a little moment, that this huge stage presenteth naught but shows, whereon the stars in secret influence comment. When I perceive that men, as plants, increase, cheered and checked even by the self-same sky, vaunt in their youthful sap, at height decrease, and wear their brave state out of memory. Then the conceit of this inconstant stay sets you most rich in youth before my sight, where wasteful time debateth with decay, to change your day of youth to sullied night, and all in war with time for love of you, as he takes from you, I engraft you new.
Much better couplet. Much better couplet. So, all I'm saying is that sometimes when you take a breath, you don't really need to take a breath. You just need to carry the same breath that you started with into a resolution.
Mm-hmm.
When I consider everything that grows holds in perfection but a little moment, that this huge stage presenteth not but shows, whereon the stars in secret influence comment. When I perceive that men as plants increase, cheered and checked even by the self-same sky, vaunt in their youthful sap, at height decrease, and wear their brave state out of memory. Then the conceit of this inconstant stay sets you, most rich in youth, before my sight, where wasteful time debateth with decay to change your day of youth. So just play around with the rhythm,
Mm-hmm.
and think. If you get a chance to listen to any piece by Mozart or Brahms, done a lot. Also, Beethoven, they do pieces called variations on a theme by, right?
Yeah.
And it's really amazing to follow this theme over this complete changeover. We take the same theme rhythmically and melodically. You just do something different to give it a different life. And so that's what I want you to experiment with, is to trust that you have enough breath to convey so much more. So it's really trusting that you really know this sonnet, Joe. And I know you just picked it. It's new to you. But when you come back, work on these things, and really try to get rid of stress. Get rid of any stress. Right now, you're really stressing at height. Decrease. Vaunt in their youthful sap. At height, decrease. You don't need a stress there.
Yeah.
Try it one more. Try the thing one more time.
Okay.
Let yourself go. Don't think. Just convey the thoughts. Don't worry about anything else other than conveying the thought.
Okay. When I consider everything that grows holds in perfection but a little moment,
Good.
that this huge stage presenteth nought but shows, whereon the stars in secret influence comment. When I perceive that men, as plants, increase, cheered and checked even by the self-same sky, vaunt in their youthful sap, at height decrease, and wear their brave state out of memory. Then the conceit of this inconstant stay sets you, most rich in youth, before my sight, where wasteful time debateth with decay, to change your day of youth to sullied night, and all in war with time, for love of you, as he takes from you, I engraft you new.
Much better. Right, Brian?
Yes.
Much better. I mean, it really is a demonstration. So once you know where the logical places to take a breath are, then you've set up really that infrastructure that allows you to build on how you can convey the thought. So you've just built the infrastructure that you're going to lay the bridge on that people will follow as you speak it, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you start making it your own and start expressing it, then you don't have to worry about reconstructing things. It's already constructed. Now you just have to drive over the bridge that you've laid out. Right, Joe?
Yeah.
And of course, you put up little signs to everybody: yield right, stop here, look to your left for falling rocks, or whatever. You've got these signs on the highway, but they don't stop you from driving. They just right.
Yep.
So that was much better. And in fact, what you did was you were taking a lot of small breaths at the beginning, and that was helping you actually to keep the thought alive. It wasn't dying the way it was before when you first started. When I consider everything that grows, even though you were doing upward inflections and the whole thing, it still had a mechanical quality about it.
Mm-hmm.
Once we started working on it, and it got more and more elastic, and our comments were starting to make sense to you, then you were able to relax and just convey the thought, but bring it back.
Yep, definitely.
Okay. But I think you're going to be really happy with where you started and where you just ended when you review this. Okay?
Yeah, it feels completely different. I was just thinking how far it came from where I started to where I am now. So.
Yeah, but that's okay because it's a new piece. But you know, also, I mean, the great thing about these sonnets is the economy that he has in conveying the deepest thoughts.
Mm.
When I think of this beautiful thing that's so clear, I mean, that's so economical, Vaunt in the youthful sap, at height decrease. I mean, that's so brilliantly efficient.
Yep.
You might have to figure out what it is that he's saying, but once you figure out what it is he's saying, then you're just amazed at how efficient he was able to say it.
Yep.
10 syllables, right?
It seems to me, just looking at Shakespeare's work, I mean, the sonnets in particular, because I don't know, I almost see them as though they were his training, because you are so limited. There is such a strict structure to it that you can't. I was just having discussions with people at the conference over the weekend. I said, you know, he couldn't have any fat. They had to be just the lean ideas because there was no room for any BS. It's just really amazing how much he can get into one of these sonnets.
The one line, and where their brave state out of memory, and where their brave state out of memory. So it has a couple of possibilities as far as meaning. They're continuing to wear their brave state, but it's only out of memory. Or they wear their clothes until the tatters are just a memory of what they used to be. Or they wear their brave state until it no longer is remembered at all.
Hey, Robert.
Well, I was just
Well, just on that section, because we've talked about this the first line in that quatrain is as plants. And I was thinking about it. What if it was just I'm gonna use men, I'm gonna compare them to plant or talk of them as if they are plants, and because he uses this metaphor of youthful sap. Right? So if we say, I perceive that men as plants increase, so if we use this metaphor of men as plants, so instead of it being men as plants do increase, and then he goes on, but men as plants increase, and then they're useful sap, and then they decrease, right? So, because we started talking about that quatrain, it seemed to me that to use as plants, just as plants, makes sense because he uses all of these plant metaphors talking about men. Yeah. Because there was kind of a weird thing there. It was like, how is he using it? Is he saying as plants do?
No,
or is he saying, we're going to say men are like plants. We're going to use men as plants and say their youthful sap increases, they grow, they're checked by the sky. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, anyway.
No, I think it's good to keep the metaphor of the comparing the man as you would a plant. The life of a man as the same thing as the life of a plant or anything else that grows.
Yeah.
But it's only a comparison as to what time does to it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
We're not comparing the spirit.
Creative, the creative.
So great, Joe. Why don't you come back with this?
Sure. Thank you.
Are we going to have time for another session before we leave?
Yes.
Okay.
We will. We'll make one
She will
happen.
postpone the flight.